The US has surmounted debt it simply cannot pay back. It is just impossible. Through any mathematical calculation, it is absolutely impossible. They have accumulated more debt in the past few years than all other years before. That is the extreme level that they have gotten themselves into. Now, this is okay as long as other countries continue to buy up their debt, and China being the number one prospect here. However, they have been fluctuating on how they've been buying this debt. So right here you can see for the third straight month, China further decreases US Treasury purchases. So basically what they're saying is that China is no longer looking like it's going to buy consistently more and more debt of the US. But, like I said, it fluctuates. So for the time being, they seem to be buying less debt. At the same time, they're doing more and more partnerships with Russia. So they seem to be, allies with Russia, as Russia over time has been decreasing their purchases of debt as well. So this presents a problem. Now let's take a look at what I wrote in my book. China and other US dollar supporters are slowly starting to diversify their holdings. That is huge news because it shows that the US will not be able to sustain what they're doing, and I'll get into that in a moment. But just take a look at this. What I had said, what I had stressed in my book so many times is what I said. The end result will be that the Fed will remain as the primary purchaser of US debt. And I continue on. I won't get into details, but basically what these are, the money GPS hot point that comes up a few times in the book, not every single chapter or whatever, but essentially this is the point that I want to really drive home, and the hot point, and one of these moments is right here. The Fed is going to have to buy up all that debt. And where do they get this money from? Where do they get it from? Of course, they bring it through the printing press. They just print that money up and they buy their own debt. And if you'll excuse me for a moment, I'm going to scroll up and you can see the diagram I drew, and essentially you can read that for yourself, but then you're left with a pile of IOUs and it can never be paid back, but it's all fictional anyway. Now this whole banking system itself is going to collapse. I made this pretty clear throughout so many of my videos in my book and so on. But take a look at this recent story. More than 1 million Americans who've been effectively blacklisted from the mainstream financial system because they overdrew their account or bounced a check. There are so many rules and regulations being put in place right now to limit your access to your money that you currently have, and then also in other ways limiting you from accessing the bank. They're charging fees for every little thing that you do. They essentially want you to take your money and they want you to either put it in the stock market or choose another risky investment. They want a cashless society. They do not want you to have access to paper money. They essentially want it spent, or they want it invested in some sort of non-insured investment. That's what they're doing here intentionally. Look at this right here. Chinese investors buying up US golf courses. And it's not just the US golf courses, of course, they're buying up real estate as well. And they're looking at commercial real estate too. This is the Chinese investors quickly adding golf courses to the growing portfolios of US holdings. So that's what I was just saying right there. Essentially, the Chinese are able to buy up mass quantities of real assets. They understand the value of real assets. Whether or not, what happens with all of this China-US relationship, I'm just trying to bring the point that they understand the value of the real assets. They're buying up all of these US-based assets. We're going to have to see really where this goes with that, but they are buying everything they can get their hands on in the US. Let's keep our eyes on this right here. Either way, in whatever happens, the US is doomed. The currency will fall. The Fed is going to have to ramp up the printing presses to the levels that we haven't seen since Weimar Germany. There's going to be wheelbarrow full of cash in order to pay for your things. The dollar will be worthless. This is a warning to you all. Please, if you want more information, get on the Insiders. It's free. I hope I can share some of my information through that. Hundreds are on there already. It's growing. I'm actually at the limit right now for how many people can get in. There's a few spots left. I will hopefully be upgrading this in the next few days. I want to see you all on there. I want more emails from you guys. Let me hear you. I get information all the time from people. They're asking me about consultations. They're asking me, where do I get a hold of you? I want some one-on-one time. You do that through the Insiders is the best place to do that. I can get to you. I can give you the information that you need. Join me on there. Join me on the Insiders for the deep intel that is at themoneygps.com at the bottom. You fill in your email address. Take care.